We see a ton more of Luke, obviously. Luke is a very major part of this movie. Don't worry if you think they're going to sideline him and Yoda him, because they don't just Yoda Empire Strikes Back him or Yoda Return of the Jedi him. They make him have his own mark on the film from not necessarily scene one, but from the opening act all the way until the closing moments of this movie. Luke is a very important character and one of the main focuses of this film. So if you want to see Luke, then do go see this movie. Do they do any injustices to characters? Because this is what a lot of people are saying they do. They don't do injustice to any character. They do complete and total justice to Luke. Not going to say how. They do complete and total justice to every single character. Snoke is really good also. A lot of people are complaining about something with his character that is going to be a part of my spoiler review. But to me, it doesn't really matter because I don't see things in the same way that some of those naysayers see it. But yeah, the new character, Rose, is great. And BB-8, once more, real show stealer. He was really good in this movie. If you're worried about the porgs, don't be. I find that they're very, very, very minor. Yeah, they're in a lot of places in the movie, but it's not like they're a main focus, like, oh, we have to say the porgs or whatever. You'll see a porg very early on in the movie, and you'll see them all the way through the final third act. But overall, I'd say they don't get any more than 3 minutes of screen time. Maybe not even more than 1 or 2 minutes of screen time. But yeah, anyways, The Last Jedi is actually a really, really, really good film. So go out and see it. Now, if you do want to skip over spoilers and you want to see my overall ranking on the Sensei chart of ranking, please skip around probably the last 30 minutes to 30 seconds to a minute of this video. Alright, things good. I'm going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we are into the real review. Alright, now on to the spoiler part of my review, which was originally way longer, but got cut off. So I'm going to make a shorter version of it, and then the longer parts, which I do end up talking about, will be separate videos for a separate time. So, spoilers I want to talk about. I really liked what this movie did with Luke, Kylo, and Rey. I said in the beginning that I wanted to be all about Luke, Kylo, and Rey, and for the most part, it pretty much is, with Finn and Rose going off on their own side adventure, which is exactly what I expected from the movie. A lot of people didn't like Finn and Rose's adventure. I think it was important because it built up her character. It really expanded her character. Sure, it was very long, but at the same time, it added to the plot of the movie, and it just overall was important to building the character of Rose. Luke, Kylo, and Rey. Luke and Rey's training. It's a pretty good part of the movie. I do like everything about this movie, honestly. I can be honest, I didn't really dislike anything about it, except for the fact that Luke never fought Kylo with his green lightsaber, which was, it's kind of disappointing to me, but it's alright. It's whatever, I guess. But, yeah, spoilers. I already did this, so it's kind of weird for me to go over it again at a later time, but, yeah, we got to see good development for Kylo and Rey, and we do get a sort of moment where Kylo turns, where he turns against the Supreme Leader Snoke, and Rey and him fight Supreme Leader Snoke's guards. I really did like that scene. That was my favorite part of the movie. We get some nice relationship moments. They talk to each other, and we do find out who Rey's parents were. They're nothing. They're no one. And, yeah, it's kind of interesting how, yeah, she's just not connected to anybody. Everyone's sort of quests binds together and makes this one huge movie. If you look at it as a movie you want to constantly be going and not stay in place, then, well, you're gonna be disappointed. This movie stays in place with several moments. This movie's really stay in place. Especially during the first act and early second act. Once we get towards the mid-second act to late second act, all the way to the end of the movie, it's really fast-pacing moving, but to start off with, it's just kind of slow setup, stay in place type stuff. That for some people you might not like, for some people you might like that. But Supreme Leader Snoke's dead. That is Something that a lot of people are complaining about. It's alright though. Now time to talk about Luke. Luke has done justice completely. He has done completely right in this movie. He's the strongest he's ever been. He's the coolest he's ever been. He projects himself onto the battlefield and the ending with the Battle of Crate, which I thought was going to be at the beginning of this movie, but it actually was not at the ending of this movie. So yeah, but he projected himself onto Crate and quote unquote fought Kylo Ren, even though he didn't. And basically he after that, he basically was stalling to help the Resistance get off Crate, because the Battle Crate is not at all what people make it sound like. It's not like a Battle of Hoth type deal. It is very similar in looks, yes, I know. And that's the thing about this movie. It's not an Empire Strikes Back clone. That's something you don't have to worry about. It's not at all. It has certain moments where, like, hey, that looks like this, but it goes down differently. The setup to it is different, and the aftermath is different. There's a scene where I'm like, are they about to do a throne room Emperor Vader type situation with Luke? But they didn't. It went way differently. By the end of this movie, you aren't really sure whose loyalties is with who. Kylo, after he kills Snoke, and Rey refuses to join him and help conquering the galaxy, without any sort of side, no resistance, no First Order, no Sith, no Jedi. He kind of goes full on Supreme Leader, and he tries to lie to himself and act super evil, but he's not. I don't think I mentioned this, but after the projection fight, Luke does end up dying a peaceful death on Ahch-To. He's peaceful because he, after all this time of just wanting to die, of just knowing his mistake, he finally just died a peaceful death. It was binary sunset playing and him looking at the sun setting. It was such a peaceful death. It was such a nice death. There's certain things in this movie, such as a Gareth Edwards cameo, where it's like, hey, Gareth Edwards, and Yoda has a good scene where he talks about how the books of the wills, the Jedi books, are just full of crap. They aren't anything to him, which is nice to see from a character like Yoda, who is so pro Jedi Order in the prequels. I feel as though the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy really contradicts what Lucas tried to tell us the prequel trilogy was, because I like what the originals and sequels do better, and the original and sequels make up more of a majority of the Star Wars movies, so I'm going to believe those versus what you tell me with the midichlorians crap and all the Jedi Order of Two, which is not true at all. I really like what this movie did, though, with the whole thing of there is not one true side, you cannot be one or the other, everyone's in between. The balance was a huge sort of lesson in this film. Balance was very, very important. Balance is kind of the true story of Star Wars. This truly did turn Star Wars over on its head. While it may seem as though Rey is just going to be the last Jedi, which Luke does call her, she is, but like at the same time, she's in between still, Kylo's still in between. They're closer to one set side than they were at the end of The Force Awakens at the beginning of this movie. But at the end of the day, if I'd have to make a guess, I would say that they probably are both going to end up teaming up for good, or just who knows what's going to honestly happen. Maybe they'll both die. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe one of them's wrong. Maybe one of them's right, you know? Maybe none of them are right. That's the thing. I like this new sort of theme that goes on. I hope that J.J. Abrams continues this. Rian Johnson did an awesome job. Another thing people are complaining about that I just want to touch on, humor. It's not that bad. There's less than in The Force Awakens, and it works out naturally, or so I think. Anyways, this was actually just a little note I added in during the side, so if it seems abrupt, then oh well, I'll see you guys later. But yeah, basically, something I do want to talk about is how this movie completely throws your expectations out the window. Not in a bad way, it throws it out the window in a good way. Luke just throws the lightsaber behind him. He throws it off a ledge after Rey gives it to him. That was contradictory. And everything was really, I was constantly felt kind of on the edge of my seat. This movie's very good at making you feel on the edge of your seat. You care about these characters, or at least so I do. You feel invested in the story, you feel invested in the universe, you feel invested in the characters, and you're constantly wondering, is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? Oh my god, that just happened. What's going to happen next? It's constantly something that happens, and it really makes a 2.5 hour long runtime feel like about 2 hours. It really does. There are certain moments that stay in place. There are certain moments that feel weaker than others. Obviously, the weakest part of this film is the Finn and Rose adventure, but it doesn't make it bad. It was just the weakest part. It's not like I don't want to see it in the movie at all. It's just like, yeah, it's a kind of weak part. The planets, the music, the facts, everything is great. It feels Star Wars. It is Star Wars. The Last Jedi definitely takes a lot of risks. The Last Jedi definitely just blows it away, knocks it out of the park. No wonder Ryan Johnson got his own trilogy. He took risks. Disney let him took risks. I mean, Lucasfilm let him take risks, and in the end of the day, it frickin' paid off. So, that's why I'm going to have to say, The Last Jedi is definitely, absolutely, amazingly, Sensei of Awesome approved good. So yeah, let me know what you think of The Last Jedi. If you want to see, if you have seen it, if you don't like it, tell me why. I think it's literally one of the most perfect Star Wars movies out there. Just comment below and let me know. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one.